met Beyonce before. That was one of the people be like, who you done met? You know what I'm saying? That like it threw you out, like it took you back. Like, you know what I'm saying? Beyonce, I was at a party at Diddy crib in LA. This was the beginning of 2020. You know what I mean? And, Diddy had put everybody else out the crib. Like the influx of people, he had put them out. But he had took a liking to me in particular around the time, man. It was really, you know what I mean, like putting his arm around me.
Right.
So he had put majority of the people out, but he allowed me to stay in there. Me and, you know, maybe about 15 others, you know.
Right.
Jay-Z and Beyonce being.
Diddy's legal team ain't playing soft. They're going full beast mode to keep him out of that federal prison cell. These lawyers are moving like a whole army, turning over every stone, digging deep and calling out anybody who's ever crossed paths with Diddy. They're pushing this wild angle, trying to show that Diddy was just living wild, not breaking laws. And in the middle of all this mess, Beyonce's name just got pulled into the storm, and it's got people shook. Why? It's all because of this alleged tape that supposedly links her to Pimp C. Yep, Pimp C. The talk in the street says that during those massive raids, the feds got their hands on piles of tapes, and one of them might have involved Beyonce herself. That's the word buzzing through back channels and behind closed doors. Now, Diddy's side is screaming that if the feds are gonna put his whole personal life on blast, bringing in Cassie and all those other women he had his freaky moments with, then Jay-Z and Beyonce shouldn't be off limits either. They're claiming that the power couple's got just as many secrets buried, and if they're gonna expose Diddy, they better keep that same energy across the board. The bombshell? Folks are whispering that Beyonce and Pimp C had more going on than folks knew, and now people are saying that whatever went down between them might have even had something to do with Pimp C's untimely death. That's the level of madness this has reached. Beyonce's name being caught up in this is something nobody saw coming, but the streets are buzzing like never before. There's a storm brewing in the celeb world, and if you've been keeping your ear to the ground, then you already know it's getting real messy. Ever since Diddy got taken in, whispers have turned into full-on chatter about some wild tapes floating around the industry. Word is, celebs are scrambling behind the scenes, trying to scoop them up before they end up leaking to the public and blowing their whole image apart. These tapes weren't just random recordings. Diddy was allegedly stacking them like trophies, using them as leverage. And now? It's looking like he might have been ahead of the game with that move. Cause suddenly, celebs who used to hang around him heavy are now acting brand new, claiming they never knew him, never rolled with him, nothing. But here's where things went off the rails. When the feds raided his crib, all those tapes went flying, scattered like confetti, and what they found, allegedly insane. From freaky encounters to shady backdoor deals, the footage reportedly showed big names, real power players, caught up in situations you wouldn't believe. We're talking contortions, wild scenes, and straight-up unexplainable behavior. And now, one tape in particular is turning heads hard. It's rumored to feature none other than Beyonce and Pimp C. That's right.
She done several rappers from Houston. Okay, let's leave it that right there. Second of all, whoever she is, when she was getting banged, she liked to scream a lot. You know what I'm saying? And she was screaming a lot, you know, she was in—
Scream or sing? What would you—
Like, oh, f the shit out of me, you know.
Oh,
so it was like, you know, she almost, she like she sing. And she's a big time R&B.
Pimp C, the legendary rapper known for being one half of UGK alongside Bun B. Back in their prime, UGK was huge in the South. Bun B even mentioned that they used to record their music right next door to Destiny's Child studio. So the connection, it's real. If that tape exists, and if it's what people are claiming, it could shake things up in a major way. Nobody expected to hear Beyonce's name tied into this madness, but here it is. And the streets can't stop talking. Beyonce was reportedly a big-time fan of UGK back in the day, like full-on fangirl status. She was so into their music that it even got the attention of her dad, Matthew Knowles, who was managing her at the time. According to Bun B, Matthew wasn't having it. He pulled Pimp C to the side and flat out told him, "Don't mess with my daughter, man." But guess what? Pimp C came back into the studio laughing, and it looks like he went ahead and did exactly what Beyonce's dad warned him not to do. Now that Diddy's trial is officially underway, things are spiraling fast. He's trying to throw the spotlight on that infamous tape, featuring Beyonce and Pimp C, the one that's been floating around in whispers for years. And what's wilder, Diddy's team is now hinting that the tape and whatever went down between Pimp and Beyonce might have had something to do with the way Pimp C's story ended. They're throwing serious shade and pointing fingers in unexpected directions. Let's rewind for a second. Do you remember Big Pimpin'? That track was a straight-up banger, and it was the only time Jay-Z and UGK ever worked together. But apparently, that one collab came with drama behind the scenes. Sources say Pimp C and Jay-Z never really saw eye to eye, and the tension ran deep. When Rockefeller Records dropped a $1 million check to get UGK on the song, Pimp wasn't feeling it at all. He reportedly turned it down at first, straight up refused. The reason? Pimp C had major issues with Jay-Z's past link to Tupac and felt like hopping on a track with him would go against everything he stood for. He even said that Jay should have given that million to Tupac's mother instead of trying to buy verses for a hit record.
I said, but right now, I got $1 million check for you. All we wanted was 100,000. I was just like, who is that with? I said, with Rockefeller. He was like, what? I was like, yeah. He was like, I'm watching Dan with the checkbook, he writing out. He was like, ain't that with, over there with Jay-Z? I was like, yeah. He was like, man, tell him to take that check to go give it to Tupac mama, man. He's gonna be stealing all my. I was like, what?
The loyalty ran deep, and so did the drama. When some music execs were trying to convince Pimp C to finally say yes to the Big Pimpin' collab, Jay-Z was right there in the room, and he heard everything. Pimp C didn't hold back. He spoke his mind loud and clear, calling out how he really felt about Jay. No fake smiles, no sugarcoating. He straight up distanced himself right in front of Hov. Jay heard it all. He was standing there watching it unfold. According to folks who were there, one of them even said, I seen Hov there and I was like, oh. It was tense. The execs tried to smooth things over, and eventually, Pimp C agreed to hop on the track. But even though the song blew up and became a massive hit, bigger than anybody expected, the respect between the two, gone, done, burnt out.
Jay heard him say that, yo?
Yeah, Jay heard him. He heard him. Because I had to jump up and apologize for this nigga to clean that shit up quick, because I was like, I didn't realize he was in the room. So when I seen Hov there, I was like, oh.
Pimp C really have a tape of somebody in the industry that would break the internet. You look like you done seen it, Marvin. You done seen it. Marvin seen it.
Tell him who it is.
Hey, man, tell him who it is. I wish we still trying to find out who was in this Pimp C tape.
All I can tell you, there was a famous R&B chick, and it was a guy that was getting money at the time. And, you know, Pimp, he used to be in the studio. And every now and then he'd have a camcorder, so he was able to get some footage. And he wanted to do something with the footage, but I don't know why he didn't do nothing with it, but if I could have got a hold of that tape.
Pimp C never gave that song any real love afterward. He never bragged about it, never spoke on it like it meant anything to him. Big Pimpin' might have topped charts, but to Pimp, it was just a paycheck. He didn't claim it as a win. He walked away from that whole moment like it never happened. But here's the thing, this beef wasn't just about music. Now, insiders who were tight with Pimp, like his homie Ken, say the real drama ran deeper. Word is, there was something personal going on between Beyonce and Pimp C back in the day, something serious. And that's not something Beyonce can just brush off or pretend didn't happen. Because reportedly, there's a private tape of them together. A tape nobody wants to see hit the light of day. That's the real heat underneath all this tension. Before he passed, Pimp C started getting louder. He began calling out major execs in the industry, including Diddy, accusing them of hiding behind fake images while making the game toxic for everybody else. He was done playing nice and wasn't scared to call out what he saw as foul behavior, even if it meant shaking the whole industry up. Pimp C always said, "It's gonna come to the light," and he meant every word. As someone who had been grinding in the industry for years, he wasn't scared to speak on what was really going on behind closed doors. He started calling out music execs who were straight up robbing artists, locking them into bad contracts, draining their pockets, and basically turning them into modern-day slaves for the record labels. And if anyone fit that shady description, it was Diddy. Pimp had zero respect for how the game was being played. And when it came to Jay-Z, his feelings were loud and clear. He never liked Jay, and that tension only got worse over time. It started with Jay's connection to Tupac. Pimp was loyal, and he didn't like the energy Jay brought to the table after Pac passed. But what really pushed him over the edge, watching how easy it was for Jay-Z to turn his back on people like Dame Dash, folks he built with, just to level up and get what he wanted. That's when things took a turn. Pimp C started telling people he had a tape, a private tape, one with Beyonce on it, and he wasn't quiet about it. He let it be known that it existed, and he wasn't afraid to let it out if pushed too far. That's why some people believe what happened to Pimp wasn't just some tragic accident. It was a power move, a calculated silencing. When Pimp C was found dead in 2007, the official story said it was just a fatal mix of lean, codeine, and promethazine, and his sleep apnea. But something about that scene didn't sit right with a lot of folks. The part that really got people talking? When they found Pimp's body, he wasn't just laid out, he was on his knees. That alone sparked serious questions. To this day, people are still asking what really happened and who wanted him gone bad enough to make sure he couldn't speak ever again.
I'm saying, Sean Carter, you're a piece of shit. Taking Pimp C wasn't bad enough. You just want to go down there and you want to just remove all of the balls from every real gangster in Houston.
And here's where things get real unsettling. When Pimp C's body was found, he wasn't just laid out like someone who passed in his sleep. He was on his knees like he was praying, and there was blood around the spot where he was staying. Now let's keep it real. If he supposedly died from a mix of lean and sleep apnea, why was there blood everywhere? Some folks might try to brush this off and call it a wild conspiracy, but when too many people start connecting the same dots, you can't just ignore it. It starts looking a lot less like a theory and a whole lot more like a cover-up. And let's talk timing. Y'all really think it's a coincidence that Beyonce launched her tour right as Diddy's trial is kicking off? Come on now. It's looking like a strategic move to keep the spotlight shiny and clean while the storm's swirling just inches away. You can't tell me she didn't know what was about to hit the fan. She's been to those infamous Diddy parties and her husband's wild scenes too. Folks act like she's squeaky clean, but the streets remember. And let's not forget, sleep apnea hits hardest when you're lying down, not when you're found kneeling. Wake up and start paying attention. But hey, what do you think about all this? Is there more to Pimp C's death than what we've been told? Could that tape really exist? And is Beyonce really as distant from all this as her image suggests? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you don't miss a single twist in this crazy story. And if you think this was wild, wait till you see what's coming up next. Catch you in the next one.